rotation. Every 24 years, it goes. So everything has to have a rotation around itself, and then vortation and peristalsis in order to move in the nature.
So we're talking about a spiral
Yes.
rotation.
Yes. And then peristalsis. That's how blood moves when red cells move in that motion, it becomes, because it has iron, it becomes magnet. That's why it can absorb oxygen. And if I don't have that peristalsis, I am weak, and I cannot absorb at the lung, and I cannot release it at the cell. So therefore, we need magnetism, and that's all architectural. Has nothing to do with chemical or doctors and all that. It's purely architectural. So we need building that allows these three motion in our nervous system, which is water. This pineal gland, 100,000 miles of nerves, pumps water in 100,000 miles. It's garden tube, it's not wire. And if this three motion is not in our nervous system, doesn't move. When it doesn't move, it's pain. Pain is when something is not moving. And if I open it with germanium, opens it.
Germanium.
Yeah. So what happens, and a lot of people were in pain, I used to put germanium on it. I have a scanner. And then it opens it up, the pain goes away. We don't need painkillers. So the same thing, then it cannot bring signal to my heart, because we have 26 vertebrae here. T3, for example, it comes to the heart. If any of those wires is not taking the pulse from the pituitary to that part of the heart is not working. Or it doesn't get this, just like an engine of the car. If the spark plug does not get the electricity, it won't fire. So all of a sudden, they think there is something wrong, heart or lung or whatever, but it's all electrical and magnetic. And that has a lot to do with architecture. So we want to do an architecture of healing, not architecture of ailing.
Powerful. Extremely powerful.
No, I mean, those two, there's a lot of scientific work behind it, that people have found out.
Well, you're one of those people.
Well, I'm just basically I'm just the servant.
He's being modest.
I look at, basically, I try to practice my constitutional, divine constitution, good for all, harm to none, in surrender, submission, and service to Creator and creation. And then in integration, not segregation, because all of the ills of social ills, religious ills, everything we have to do is based on that principle of segregation and literalism. I mean, look at every facet of life you have segregated. Where did you find that God wanted segregation in the creation?
Never spoke on it. He just said he was making man.
But I became a scientist, so I engineered all those segregation because I make money out of it. If I separate the family, or I separate the people to communist, capitalist, left and right and all that, I have created duality. I make money out of duality. And it's easier to control the masses when they are in a state of duality rather than polarity.
Complicity versus duplicity.
Yeah.
As opposed to simplicity.
Yeah. I mean, this segregation is killing economics. We are divided in economic things. We are socially, politically, everything is segregated. Left and right, left and right. The left and right is duality. And it causes hate and stress among people.
Yes, it does.
I mean, there goes, all of a sudden 90% of the people if I'm segregated engineer, 90% of the people in the world, I can't stand them. Because I'm segregated. I'm segregationist.
Yes.
90% of the people, I can't stand them.
So you're saying right now in the United States we have an epidemic of an opioid crisis, where everyone is hooked on opioids from so much pain. What can we do about all of the pain? Is there? I mean, it's not a fix-all for everybody, but what is something that someone can do?
Yeah, actually, I'm a victim of that myself and my sons, so I should be. But anyway, what happens, because they are caught in this segregated society, Even if the
Causes
same
pain.
thing, it's called esotericism
Yes.
instead of exoterism. God created everything exoterically, that means integration. It has become entropy, and segregation has become so intense that this new generation totally doesn't know how to function. If I'm left, am I right or wrong? If I'm right, am I right or wrong? If I'm right, the left doesn't like me. If I'm left, the right doesn't like me. All of a sudden, those are all the subconscious stress. So we have created subconscious psychology of duality. So that has to change to polarity. Like nature is polarity, male and female. Duality is positive and negative. What does positive and negative does? Cancel each other.
Why they do cancel each other out.
Male and female, if it's improper things, they enhance each other. So you see how I took the polarity of God, I segregated into duality of positive and negative. All of my science is based on positive and negative, not male and female. Where do you see positive and negative in nature?
No.
But you see everything in male and female.
Oh, yes.
There is no segregation. The male and female cause integration. Positive and negative causes segregation. That becomes my subconscious. All of a sudden my subconscious is fighting my conscious. I cannot even believe in God. I cannot believe in creation, so I come up with my own scientific assumptions, and 10 years later you come and say, oh, I did something wrong. That's what the nature of science is. But nature, you can never, it can be centuries after centuries, and it doesn't. So we have to create an architecture. Architecture means organization. Organization of subconscious, which is subordinate to conscious, not independent. Because if I am thinking within that box of subconscious, duality becomes my conscious. All of a sudden, I'm thinking within the box, segregated box, that box becomes my thinking.